It is Thanksgiving evening here in LA, and everyone, including my neighbors down the street, are still celebrating house parties, spending time with their families, watching good football games on television, and resting after eating those big meals. I had my share of my own meal, spent a nice early morning breakfast with my wife, and now I'm set to say that I'm thankful for many things, but also to move to the topic that I'm about to speak on. And I can say that in recent years, maybe since the 1990s, we've had people of the privileged class often trying to help the community or other communities into doing what they feel is the right thing. For example, I live in a community that was affected by the fires of 1992. I call it unrest. You may call it something else. That's within your right, but I don't have to pay attention to that. And in the fires of 1992, several buildings in my neighborhood burned down. There used to be swap meets and other places. And there was a call by a celebrity, a gentleman that I respect. I think he announced it with by holding a broom, say we're going to sweep all the debris that was burned for these burned down stores and making a difference. And that inspired college students from out of this community who don't look like my shade to come down and to do something about it. They came with the brooms, they came with their cleanup equipment, and cleared out the debris from all the burned out storefronts and you name it, as if they were actually doing something. And to them, they felt like they were doing something. They were clearing out the result from all the fires that had happened in the community and in the storefronts and inside the community that burned down. And again, at that time, it was a very good gesture with good intentions, but we find oftentimes, especially in the community where I'm a part of, good intentions often don't work out the way they should. Even though you clean out the debris in storefronts and you do your job for that day, there's still the problems that exist in that community, whether it be financial, social, you name it. And just because you clean out that area doesn't mean that you clean out everything that is involved in that area. While you may clean out that storefront, sweep away all the burnt debris, put in and ship it off to a truck somewhere, the fact of the matter is we still have to drive out of the community to get what we need, such as food, water, clothing, you name it. Nothing inside our community to which we can purchase these things from. Now, there have been efforts to rebuild through more storefronts and more newer buildings that are inside and renovated places that are closed down. So changes has been made since that time. But I would say in that period in time when the fires of LA, especially South LA, were raging, that was a possibility that none of us would have foreseen happen. And anytime that people of the privileged class have these good intentions, whether it be coming down to sorry for the loud noise outside. Someone's having fun. Whether someone of the privileged class is having good intentions of, let's say, coming down to the neighborhood and cleaning out a storefront, marching on behalf of a slain individual, or just coming down to the community just to help the folks who live there. It oftentimes comes with good intentions. And I find that these individuals really come in with privileged attitudes and not with a sense of extending the hand of friendship. More times it's like, well, I know everything there is to know about your community, your area. I seen it on TV, I read about it. But they don't really talk with us. They don't really get to know us. They just hear and see and absorb and feel the need to come down and take over, right? They don't communicate. They don't get to know us on a personal level. And that hinders a lot of progress for a group that claims it's all about progress. So anytime I see anyone marching for a particular cause and insisting that everyone else join the cause because they believe in this right and things don't go their way, they pout, resist, choose the other alternative, and we wind up with the world that we're about to get now. 2025 will be the beginning of a world that we could have easily avoided if privilege and expectations of exerting that privilege didn't go that way. These individuals come in with the exact same attitude as the college students who decided to visit a burned out storefront in South Los Angeles. And I repeat this over and over again because I've seen it. Passing by these individuals, I mean, my heart was just locked. Not so much in anger, but resentment. That why did you have to come down here after all that's been done, after all that's been said? Why did you come down here and clean off our neighborhood? Privilege and the fact that a celebrity told them they should do that urged them to do that, urged them to do it. Just like privilege will urge them to march in our neighborhoods to quote unquote show solidarity. But is it really solidarity because you feel the need to be a quote unquote activist? Or just relate with people, talk with them? The one issue that I find is that everyone wants to be an activist, but no one wants to be humane. We all want to march for our causes. We all want to chant and sing and whatever we want to do, but we don't want to relate with each other. We don't want to converse about what is it like living in this area? What is it like in your experience? The privileged class can never see that from us because they're too busy trying to exert their cause on the rest of us. In 2017, I attended a kind of a rally on the corner of Florence and Normandy in South Los Angeles. And that was 25 years after the unrest had happened in the very same corner, which many people, I'm sure, have seen with their own eyes at that time. And the feeling I got from all of the speakers and the feeling that I got from all the people who were there, and they just gathered on that corner, which realistically they never would have gathered times before. They gathered on that corner to exert their groups or to present their groups their causes, and they got away from the main cause of all. And in fact, one of the speakers even thought that that moment, that time, in April 29th, 1992, was the start of a revolution. It was far from that, in my opinion, and based living down here. It was just the fact that people had had enough. People had had enough of mistreatment from law enforcement, that a man like myself could be beaten by all of these officers and several others standing around and not be charged for their misconduct. And this goes back to stories of the same type throughout the decades in this community which I live in. So it wasn't a revolution, but again, because that young person at that time during that rally mischaracterized that, unfortunately, that's when everyone thought that one size fits all. But it doesn't. Not in this community, and not in any community. One size does not fit all. This is the reason why certain ideologies are often successful. Because I have friends, high school teammates, people that I've known, who are of that different ideology. But the one thing I can say is that they've always treated me with respect. They never pretend to be my friend. They're down to be in friendships. We may disagree on a lot of things, but the friendship is still there. That much I can tell you. They're not phony. And this is the problem that I see with a certain ideology that pretends to fight for everyone else, that would clean out a storefront and thinking that everything is all right. But anything can never be all right. It can never be put back together the way it was. So it's no surprise that ideology, the one that people on one side despise, feels good right now. And it should. They should feel good. Because the other side, to me, has a lot of work to be done, has a lot of internal seeing to be done. And one suggestion that I would make, be humane towards each other. Just don't exert your beliefs upon me and thinking that one size fits all. Listen to what I have to say, and listen with the fact that you understand. But just listen. If I say what's going on in my neighborhood, if I say what's going on in my community or my city, don't automatically have a chant ready for that. Don't automatically say anything that's going to make me feel like you don't care. But we've seen this before, and I pretty much doubt that we will not see this again, because they just don't learn their lesson. Anyone who doesn't hear what the non-privileged class is going through will soon find that out. Those of us who are not privileged have our share of challenges that do not require a one-size-fits-all. It doesn't mean that. It just means that we all go through our struggles, we all go through our problems. We find ways to get through them. We pray. We're religious. We know that sometimes the best answers do not come from the earth, but they come from above. But again, all I can just tell you is that after that college group swept up that debris from that burned out storefront, they never came back. They never returned back to the same community to check on anything. They never spoke to anybody in the community. So why in the world would they come back to the same community that they would feel good about cleaning out a burned storefront? They visited, they cleaned, they left, never to be seen again. So that's all I have to say. And really, that's all that has to be said. If you like what you've seen and heard, I invite you to click the banner above or the link above to visit my website, find out what personally I am doing in my own personal written works. Or if you like what you've heard, you may have disagreed with some of the things I've said, feel free to click below to like or even subscribe if you like more content like this. But I would like to wish all of you a great post-Thanksgiving holiday season, even though we're headed towards the main ones now. I wish everyone the best, no matter where you're from, no matter what your ideology. Please take care of yourself and please be good to each other. So until next time, whenever you're watching this, have a good day, evening, week, and always in closing, take care.